Hey guys, Richie here. As some of you may know, I'm pretty into my scale modeling. I spend a lot of time on the bench here. Find a great way to unwind and build a lot of scale models, especially aircraft right now. So I really want to just take some time to show you my man cave, my space here, some of the tools I use, and that's pretty much it. So without further ado, here's a quick tour of my cave. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to do a quick kind of pan around the room, and then we'll kind of go into detail. So I'm fortunate enough to have this bedroom I can use. I do have a shed out back, but I have young kids, so I was kind of worried. But if I was out there modeling, I kind of be away from everybody hours and ends. I kind of want to be close to the family. So small bedroom at the front here, some stash, bench area. Sorry, the light coming up the window. And then up here is a staircase to the attic, which is kind of convenient, so I can keep stuff up there too. This side of the room, this is really my wife's stuff, some of the hobby stuff down here, yarn and stuff, and there's our IKEA cabinets. So let's get started. So first of all, let me just put this down real quick. So this is the a tool chest. Here, more the cutting stuff. These Zona saws are fantastic, cutting resin blocks, really cheap too, like $5. Highly recommend these. Some razor saws and stuff as well. Here, more of the everyday tools, Tamiya knives, tweezers, scissors, kind of stuff. In a previous life, I used to do 5S and 6S Kaizen stuff, so I kind of took the idea, this is always my Air Force days too, at tool boards, where you get the foam, and then you kind of do cutout of the, funny how you can go so everything has a spot. Down here, some other tools, rosy riveters, riveting, various scribing tools, PE stuff. Here we have a spare sanders, masking tapes, polishing compounds, that kind of stuff. And final drawer, we've got some other stuff in terms of like sticks with crocodile clips for like holding stuff when you paint it, mixing little plastic tubs of mixing, some paint bottles, some plastic like empty bottles but paint in when you mix it, that kind of stuff. One thing too is always when the kids are done, always get their old toothbrushes. These come in great for weathering, doing different stuff, especially with armor. And also actually good for cleaning panel lines as well. If you sand items have sand and dust in the panel lines, they work really good too to get that out before you paint. So next up here, so we're going to back it down a little bit first. So I use this IKEA workstation. It's basically an office desk. I have two of them, so I make an L shape. I use the drawers at this side, and I just use the legs for the rest. There I have my spray booth, and then that extracts out to the window. I can't remember the manufacturer, but I'm happy if you guys shoot me a message. I'm happy to share the information with you. It's fantastic. So this basically just moves to any size window, and you just open the window, put it in the bottom, and close it. Have a little bit of insulation foam on the back, and 99% of the time that's always in the window, and I have no problem with heat or cold or anything. It works great. So highly recommend that, and also extract straight out the window. So let's talk a little bit more about the workbench here. I usually have an A2 cutting mat. I just ordered a new one. So I've got this old A3 one right now, just here on the bench. So here in the drawers, just going to go through what I have in the drawers. Spare decals. Also what I do up here is I do a lot of when I'm building stuff, like sub-assemblies and clear parts and stuff, I put the top drawer here just out of the way so I don't break or lose them. Second drawer, scratch building stuff. They're various sizes of wire, evergreen plastic. These I got from, I think I can't remember where I got them, from somewhere cheap hardware store for a couple of dollars. All these rubber rings. These work great when you're doing things like fuel tanks for aircraft or nose cones or whatever. You can just roll them over the circular shape, and then when you spray, it gives you the perfect line without having to mask with tape. This drawer has spare paints, glues, and thinners, that kind of stuff. I like to keep a spare supply in. Now and again, stuff does go out of stock for a while. Things like Tamiya X28, that's been out out from the US for months now, for a bottling issue. So all the main stuff like glues and thinners and stuff I like to keep, it's good supply of. This drawer is stuff I don't reuse so much. Tamiya TS paints. These have been pretty much replaced now with the new LP range. So rather than having to decant it, I can just use the LP pots. Some card paints and some diorama stuff from AK. This works really good too. It's not stuff I really use often. It's down here in this drawer, and finally the bottom drawer is just some spare parts. I used to keep everything, and I just don't need to hoard it. I don't never use it, so now I'm just kind of refocusing on stuff I really think a lot of, like modern US jets, that kind of stuff. And then I'll keep like the ordnance and stuff I think will be come in handy. I don't keep all the sprues anymore. It's just a waste. I do keep all the spare decals too, because now and again they do come in handy. But just keeping all the spare parts is just a waste of time for me. One thing I find, I have carpet in here. So what I did find is from Home Depot, the carpet runner. It's super cheap. It's like $1 a foot. So I basically got 2 strips down here on my desk. So if I drop anything, I can usually find it pretty easily. It's not stuck in the carpet. And then secondly, if I spill paint and stuff too, I'm not ruining the carpet, so the wife's not going to be mad. So I put this down. I did have two strips, as you can see. It did kind of get bunched up a little bit when I moved my chair, so what I did do is just throw some duct tape down, just down a seam, and that seems to work pretty good too. So I just run this down kind of the area where I sit and work, and it just worked good. A cheap alternative, having to put hardwood floor in the whole, or laminate in the whole bedroom. So yeah, I highly recommend it too. Just a cheap IKEA chair, nothing fancy. Then while I'm down here, let's talk about the compressor. It's Barmax 620. If I was doing it again, I'll probably get the 610. Everybody says the 610 is better. It's a cheaper, lower-end model, but unless you're running 2 or 3 airbrushes at once, you don't need the 620. I had it 2.5. Well, I had it almost 3 years. After about 2.5 years, the pressure valve here failed, so it got stuck where you adjust it, and it just completely failed. So unfortunately, in the garage, I had a spare one, a different brand, so it just slotted right in. So I replaced the pressure valve. Everything else is working great. One thing about these compressors is they're great, not super noisy, but the only thing is the on-off switch is way down the back here, so it's not practical. So every time I go to turn it on, I got to get my hands and knees and fumble back there. So what I did was I bought one of these, which is basically I think I read it for Christmas lights and stuff. It's basically a remote from the outlet, a remote module. So I basically have my compressor, my spray booth, and my lights here all run through that power strip through there. So rather than having to switch everything on at once, what I do now is I just push this remote control, and that turns it on and off. Easy as that. So I mean, just one button, everything turns on. While I'm here, I guess to talk about the spray booth, I kind of touched upon it already. It's a bench vent, 300 DVS, I think it is, or it's basically a bench vent. It's great. Lifetime guarantee. Again, it vents out the window like I spoke about earlier. Even though I have a spray booth, I still wear respirator. There's still paint being atomized and particles and stuff in the area. I'm not a safety expert, but I just know if I spray just with a booth, even with lacquer paints in particular, I do kind of feel it a little bit on my chest in the evening after a long session. If I have a respirator on as well, I feel fine. So again, health and safety, I wear a respirator and do the booth. Because again, spraying some pretty harmful stuff. It's not just acrylic, something a lot of lacquers and enamels and that kind of stuff as well. So I just down here, just use an old model kit box. Have the Tamiya spinny thing, which comes with really for car kits, I think, but works great. My airbrush, have a few. My daily driver is this one, which is a Procon Boy. I think it's a PS 289, a platinum. Yeah, 289. It's a platinum 0.3 needle. So I like the 0.3 needle because it's really good for every day. Anything I throw in it, it can spray with, doesn't block, doesn't clog, works flawlessly. So I can spray thick stuff, thin stuff. So everything goes through there. Like I said, lacquers, acrylics, enamels. I always clean it out really well after each use. But I've worked flawlessly for over 2 years. I love it. Highly recommend it. I also have a custom Micron, which is a very much more expensive than that one. That's a 0.18 needle. Again, another Mr. Hobby Procon Boy brush. That one's fantastic as well for detail work. I can do like 172 armor. I can do kind of hand do camo. It's that detailed. But this, yeah, definitely recommend it. So this is a spray area. Kind of moving around the bench here. In the corner there is kind of some clips and some area where I can kind of, when I paint stuff, I can kind of hold it where it dries. There is just a box with some old airbrush parts and my other airbrushes in there. And then there's a pot of water where I use to clean my paintbrushes. Move around desk. As I mentioned, I normally have a bigger A3 mat. I just ordered a new one. This is a very old A2 mat. I just ordered. This is a very old A3 mat. On here, I kind of created this myself. So to get a bit closer. So, sorry, this camera's playing up a little bit. So here is what I did was I went to Home Depot and I bought these plumbing fixtures. I just sprayed them. They're like $1 each at that. Sprayed them silver and stuck them on a free sample of tile, which they're giving away. You can get free. So it's a very cheap organizer I've made. Keeps my Q-tips, my cotton buds, toothpicks, and all my paintbrushes and stuff in there. I kind of separate them out too. I think on the left it has my acrylic brushes. The middle has my oil brushes because you don't really want to mix the paint brushes. And then on the right are my kind of decent like Winsor Newton and my nice brushes. Down there are my various glues and settling solutions, Microsol and Set. I just last night ordered from IL2 Models a tool caddy. It's like a nice white acrylic caddy that holds all the paints. Sorry, all the setting solutions, all the glues, has like nice little slots for them, and has put some tools in there too, so that's going to help organize that area a little better too. Moving along here is my sanding sticks, which is a must. Use Flory models, also have a few UMP ones in there too. Did have a big Darth Vader head from Halloween, like one of those carrying basket, like for candy. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, here it is. I was using this guy, but it was just way too big. I couldn't really see what was inside it, and because it's black, it's kind of hard to see. So I had this old mug I don't really use, this other Star Wars mug. So I just put my sanding sticks in there. Like you saw earlier, I have my spares there in the drawer, and these ones I'm using every day, various different grades and grits and stuff. Some tape, wait for it to focus. And then here's a basic coffee cup warmer, and I use like a little ramekin on it. So what I do is I put water in there, turn it on, it keeps it really hot. So when I do decals and stuff, it keeps the water warm. So that works great too. The only caveat with this one is it's a very cheap one from like Amazon or eBay. It doesn't have an auto off, so a couple of times I forgot to turn it off, come in the morning, and all my waters have vaporized. Is that a word? Evaporated, that's what I'm looking for. All the water's evaporated, and it's been on all night, which is obviously a fire risk and all the rest of it. So if you can I recommend get one with the auto off. So that's pretty dense desk area. About a couple of IKEA lac shelves. This cheap hobby zone storage. It's not great, to be honest with you. They kind of fall out a lot. You have to really kind of stick them in really kind of hard to kind of keep them like kind of in there. But oil paints, you don't need a ton. I don't need a ton. You can mix them up and stuff. So that's for my weathering. And then I didn't really use this, but this is a sprue organizer they do too. Again, Hobby Zone. Comes flat pack, kind of like cheap MDF, and you just kind of put it together. So I guess in theory, you can kind of stack up your sprue runners in there, so you can keep them organized, kind of alphabetical order. So it makes it easy to find stuff. Again, I don't really use it, to be honest with you. One thing I didn't mention down here too is I have the old gloves right here for painting, but I have these I bought these dishwashing gloves. I find these are way better because they're easy to put on and they're reusable. I've had those a year. It doesn't affect, I can hold stuff by, so I just put them on and paint, and then it's fine. Whereas with these guys, they're a little bit of hassle to put on, and then once you use them, you have to throw them away. Whereas with these are, I say, reusable, so that's a great tip too. So that's that part. So now let's looking at the, so I just recently built these paint shelves. So these are real simple, primed MDF, 4-inch shelves. I just got strips from Lowe's or Home Depot. I just cut them down to what I needed, put this simple pattern and created a shelf. I put risers on too, so you can have 2 levels and see what's behind. So I initially started with this side, but it wasn't really enough, so I had to build the other side too. So I started this side. The bottom shelf had all this stuff on here, but then my wife had some concerns because real low down there I had all these like lacquer thinners and all these isopropyl alcohol and all this kicker and all these chemicals, and I have young kids, and I was it was right at arm's reach, so I was worried that, you know, we're worried they could grab them and drink them, that kind of stuff. So I put them up here to save out the way, so you can kind of get light from the sun, so I kind of shield it a little bit. So first shelf have all the different thinners, different mediums of paint. And up here have some guns paints. Very top, got a few AK paints. I'm not a big fan of AK paints. I've tried them. I bought a few, but I find like I use a lot of them. You don't get 10 milliliters in the bottle, and they kind of get proven quick. And attacker up here are a couple of RAF attacker sets. I've only used them a couple of times, but they're really good lacquer paints. I like better MRP because they're not thin, so you thin them yourself, so you get a lot more out of the bottle, which is great. So, sorry about that. So the main paint ranges are over here. Start top and work way down. So it's a few MRP paints, a few Model Air, some ACAN, I think it's pronounced, the Russian stuff, a few Citadel paints, white's good, and a few others. You find I can't just stick to one paint range. Such diverse subjects. Not one paint range does everything I need. So I have to go through different selections of paints, as you'll see. So the next shelf moves down to my model color Vallejo. This is for hand painting. So this is your main colors for your military, and also for painting cockpits. You have the general like white, red, and that kind of stuff. So in number order of my Vallejo, say here I've got a few Game Air. Next down, AK Extreme Metals, my metallics, and then next to it the Model Air metallics. People love the Extreme Metal AKs. I like them. I don't love them. I get average results with them. What I really get on well with is the Model Air stuff. You can hand paint this really well, and it sprays really well. It doesn't give you the super shiny chrome finishes, but for everyday stuff, this is my go-to. If I need like a natural metal finish aircraft or whatever, or something real glossy or shiny, I'd go with these. But generally, Model Air for my little stuff like hand painting and everything else. I love the Model Air collection of metallics. Alclads too. These aren't really fashionable right now, but Alclads I love you. I get great results. They work good, especially things like doing nozzles, jet exhausts. I can the sepia and hot metal blue and red. They work great. Kind of sprinkled on, not misted on, shall I say, various colors. So I really like the Alclad stuff. Again, that's not really in vogue right now. That's kind of maybe from like 10 years ago, but I love them. Just started collecting the LP paints from Tamiya. Got a few more on the way. I think they'll generally kind of with time replace the acrylic stuff. They just work so much better. They do smell a lot, but they work great. In front I've got my Tamiya gloss colors, and then we move down to regular Tamiya XFs. I've got not the whole range. I have quite a few. I just find, you know, there's certain colors like Japanese stuff. I never make Japanese projects, so I don't need those paints. So I just buy what I need. I don't need to buy a whole range. Down the shelf here, it drops down to my weathering stuff. So I got Vallejo pigments, some MIG and AK washes, some Citadel washes. They work good for the figures, no oil, that kind of stuff. And then the Flory model washes, clay washes. They work great for like aircraft weathering for panel lines, that kind of thing. And then some Tamiya stuff. And that's pretty much it, really. So I'm back to the room, and then we've gone through this section, we've gone through the modeling, my workbench area, and then the only other thing is a stash. I'll probably do a separate video for that, but that's pretty much my stash. I have it divided into aircraft, armor down the middle, some few like busts and hand painting stuff up top there, and then my cars and bikes here, and then some of my bigger 32nd aircraft there. I used to be big on armor, and I'm not so much into armor anymore, so a lot of this stuff is getting sold, and I've lost a lot of armor. I'm getting more and more aircraft, and more 148 aircraft right now is my thing. So that's kind of where we're at. So I hope you enjoyed the tour, just a quick tour around. Any questions, please let me know, and I hope have a great day. Speak to you later. So there we go, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed that little video. I have a lot of stuff, a lot of tools, went for everything. It'll take me hours, so I try to condense it down to about 20 minutes there. So any questions, feel free to post them up or shoot them over to me. I'm happy to answer them. I will do a follow-up video too, more detail on my stash or some other stuff as well. But hopefully you found that useful and helpful video, and see you guys next time. So thank you and goodbye.